think this may have now cut Mal out. Do you see Mal? Okay, guys, we are back, I think. Um, Hopefully the stream works now and we don't have any other technical issues. But if you are a fan of the broadcast, I will say this is extremely on brand for us. So thanks for your patience and thanks for being here with us. Um, okay, let's jump back to where we were before, which is talking about the blown lead. And as many people have said in the chat, the game was, I think a lot of people said, unwatchable. What did you guys think about the game? Okay, I am now getting told that I have now messed because I changed the resolution. Everyone looks different. So I am now going to try to fix this in real time. If you've ever seen something more chaotic, please tell me in the chat because this is wild. Okay, let's try. I'm getting told that we can't hear Georgia or Mallory. Not
You
sure.
want me to sleep and die. Can you hear me?
I can hear Georgia. Well, I can hear Georgia. I
Can
don't know
you
if the
hear me?
stream can hear Georgia, and now I can hear Mallory. But whether or not the stream can is
Now you're alive. I lit up. You're live on the YouTube. Not. Okay, once you were doing your dead face. unfortunately. Just 25 minutes of us trying to figure out tech.
This is like hands down, you guys, the most stressful thing I've done in a long time, including work and probably like raising a human.
Are we alive? Can people hear us?
I can suddenly hear you guys much better now.
Hmm. I guess I should sit more in the middle so I'm not like so close.
Yeah, you were getting on me for slouching.
Okay, it's apparently now just suddenly working, which is great. The new twist is I don't know what happened to the chat of the stream that I was looking at, so I don't see any of the comments or what we're doing, but I can hear you guys,
Okay,
and I
'cause
think that's all
Georgia's
that
looking
really
at it on her
matters.
phone.
We
Okay.
exist.
Well,
Okay,
we
great.
finally made it. We're only like an hour post game now. I'm pretty sure that going forward, I can't speak for Clay. I hope Clay's stream goes much more smoothly than mine. I think we already know from the last game that Kaya knows how to stream, but apparently things that are not my strength, tech and streaming. Things that are not the Canucks' strength, playing hockey or winning. So
Correct.
Oh, I am now being told we can only see Mallory nose down.
I just texted.
Oh god, okay. I thought I fixed this. Okay, I'm going to make George I'm gonna make mouse smaller. Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
You don't need to see her face.
It's fine. Let's
Does
go.
not work.
The Canucks are bad. The Canucks are really
Yeah,
bad.
that's good.
Okay.
Mal,
We
just
can
stay
now see
there.
Mallory's face. Yeah, the Canucks are bad, guys. This is game 2. We are now 0-2. That's 2 consecutive blown leads. What do you think about their ability to win games so far? What stood out to you? What
They have about 20 minutes in them, it seems like. I mean, like, they still didn't look as good as they did on Wednesday, the first period, but it's tolerable. But like the thing is that it's just like the special teams and everything. They can't defend, like they can't kill a penalty to save their lives. And also, there's just the general defense situation.
Which only got worse today because Tucker
Yeah.
Pullman left the game. I think he played 4 minutes. So
Yeah, I think we'll go back to the defense or lack thereof in our third segment. But I thought for me the story of the game was flipped like two sides of the same coin: blown lead, bad refereeing, and special teams. I mean, last game they had 8 power plays and couldn't capitalize, and this time they couldn't stop taking penalties, and that didn't go so hot either. I mean, it started off well, I think, killing 5, but
yeah, they had no sustained pressure. I think I can think of maybe 4 shifts where they had sustained pressure and even on the power play, they didn't really have that much time. And it kind of took until the third period for them to do that. And like when Kyle Burrows has the most shots, which he did for a second, and was second for time on ice, first 5-on-5, that's concerning. Like, I like Kyle Burrows. He also escaped Langley. Congrats to him. But like, that's not good. And you need your best players to be able to actually play in the game. And when you are constantly, what was it, 4 straight penalties that they took, which meant that like Garland wasn't playing, Podkolzin wasn't playing, Besser wasn't playing. Like, what do you expect? Everyone's going to be out of sync. And then you try and throw those players out on the power play, whether it's first unit or second unit, and they can't get anything done because they haven't been playing. So stop taking dumb penalties.
how much of it would you pin on poor refereeing, and how much would you pin on dumb penalties?
Well, if they could count to 5, that would cut some of their penalties. Um, and then obviously there is stuff that is just missed calls or just like there's times where it should have been 4-on-4 and it wasn't. Um, but the refereeing, while it's poor, it doesn't excuse the constant other dumb stuff that happens that gets actually called.
Yeah, like the one you can point to would obviously be the Hoglander one, where it should have been a 4-minute, like a double minor for us. And instead, he was in the penalty box. But I think the other plays were just not, I don't know, just not smart. Hockey. They also took themselves off the power play again. Like, stop doing that. You got to stop doing that.
Yeah, and I think for each of the times that they've been taken off the power play, someone tweeted earlier it was one of Pearson, Besser, or Miller every time. And you just can't have your top line doing that.
No, absolutely not. We need all the chances we can get on the power play. Like, I'm not concerned about the power play. Like, it's a good power play. It's going to take a minute. I was concerned when they took Quinn Hughes off it for a second. Don't do that. Quinn is not the problem. And then late in the game, they swapped Kuzmenko for Besser, that's basically what the power play was last year. So if you want to do that, go ahead. It might just take a second for them to get into it, but they're 5-on-5 play. Like, you have to show up. You're playing the Flyers. Like, come on.
To be fair, the Flyers did also shockingly win their last game, but yes. The Flyers
Flyers are currently undefeated while we have yet to win a game, but on paper, the Canucks should be a far better team than the Flyers.
They needed more shots. Like, you can't have JT Miller like having, I don't know, did he have one shot? He had no shots for a long time. Bo Horvat had one shot at the end. Like, not to be Wayne Gretzky, but like, you have to do it.
I thought the other interesting storyline was Bo Horvat's cousin scoring the game-winning goal. I enjoyed that little twist. Enjoy, as in not enjoyed.
Does he have 3 goals now?
He has 3 goals now.
Pain.
What about the more person who shouldn't be named on the Flyers scoring their opening goal? Our boy
that.
Tony.
Did not enjoy that.
The referees were doing their absolute best to give him as many opportunities as possible. And what I wanted to see was...
because he loves cops, and referees are essentially cops.
I was going to say the last time he had that much help was probably from Marjorie Taylor Greene on June 6th.
June?
Sorry, January.
I
have no concept of
time. He showed up to the Capitol in June, and was like, why is anyone here?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was... I did have a moment where I was like, if they could pull it off and actually kill off all these penalties, it would be a win, because it would completely tank. Not that the Flyers power play could get any worse, but you know.
Yeah, they were... I mean, if you're gonna have a game where you bounce back on the penalty kill, you are going from the polar opposites of people who are good at power plays, the Edmonton Oilers, to the Philadelphia Flyers, who were worst in the league last year, 12.5%, I believe. And they did okay. It's more the problem of like what that does to the flow of the game and the flow of the players when you're constantly having to like kill off penalties so your lines aren't running the way that they should be. And like Thatcher Demko is really good. He was really good. And to be fair, the Canucks, like the 2 goals they scored, they were just kind of random chances. Like I thought Podkolzin, it was a really good play by him on the second goal, but like it wasn't anything like they weren't dominating like they were in the first period against Edmonton. So
yeah,
it was kind of weird. Like I was glad that they were up, obviously, but it wasn't like they necessarily deserved to be up. It was more just like, can Carter Hart stop a beach ball? Like, I don't know. But but when you have that lead, like those are the kind of games where maybe you shouldn't have 2 goals, but you do. So then you have to hold on to that, because You know, like you don't necessarily deserve it, but they do this. And they've done it for 2 straight games. And a lot of people after the first game were like, well, it's not concerning until they kind of do it a few more times. They did it against the Flyers. That's concerning to me. So, especially because the preseason we had.
And, you know, I think it's, some people might say it's unfair. It's a new season. We should be only looking at these 2 games. 2 games in and of themselves have not been good in terms of blown leads, but it's also just that this is more of the same from last season and the season before that. It's a continuing inability to hold on to leads, to play 60 minutes. And, you know, every season we hear them say we have to learn how to play 60 minutes. How many years is it going to take them to do that? No answer.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
There is no answer.
Just to jump into the chat, somebody said that it should be a bigger thing. They gave up a 2-goal lead to the Flyers. I agree. Like we said, losing to the Flyers is bad because the Flyers are bad. But to George's point earlier, it's not a game. It's not a game where I actually thought they deserved to be in the lead at any point. It's more of Carter Hart being not very good.
Yeah, and Kyle Burrows turning into like Elias Pettersson and sniping one, which is very shocking. Keep doing
Georgia
that.
did make the take. She thinks that Kyle Burrows should be on the power play.
That was a joke.
It was not a joke. She meant it.
It was Georgia being.
I absolutely did not mean it.
She's 100% earnest.
No.
Okay, moving to our second topic. We wanted to talk about JT Miller. So as everyone knows, JT Miller signed a big contract. There's an ongoing debate amongst Canucks fans as to whether JT Miller is the Canucks' best player or Elias Pettersson is. Before we get into the JT Miller talk, who do you think the Canucks' best player is?
Thatcher Demko.
Thatcher Demko, followed by Quinn Hughes, then Petey.
I mean, yeah.
That's my top 3.
They're tied. I'd say they're tied.
Yeah.
Like, we're screwed without Quinn Hughes. We're screwed without Thatcher Demko.
I agree with
that. That's where I'm at with this team.
Tell us in the chat who you think their best player is, because the answer currently is not JT Miller, who is being paid $8 million a season.
We were really excited for this season because we thought the JT Miller talk would be over. And we were like, finally, we'll have to talk about trading him or re-signing him and all this. But no, because we signed him for $8 million and he just gives up.
So, yeah, he's been on the ice for 8 goals.
All 8 goals.
All 8 goals.
I believe.
He's aware of this. He brought it up in his post-game press conference. That's obviously not ideal. And he had a very nice goal, very nice shot in the game against Edmonton, which was very nice. But it is very funny considering the fact that who Canucks fans are currently villainizing is Bo Horvat. And it's because Bo Horvat's in his contract year, but like Miller has to be better, especially like on the play where the shorthanded goal. I think it was the shorthanded goal. Where he just like gave up on it. Like, you can't do that. It's just you absolutely cannot do that when you're being paid that much. And
obviously it would be a different story. Like, we would be upset with him if there was a penalty shot or something and he had done something stupid, but he legitimately got a couple steps beyond the blue line and just stopped skating. So,
which is, again,
I don't know what happened.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that was the knock on him when the AAV of the contract came in was, yeah, he had a career high last year, but this is a guy who doesn't play 200 feet. Like, he doesn't know where his own blue line is.
Yeah.
In the chat, somebody asked, does JT Miller contribute net positive vibes? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, no. But I
don't
think
know.
Overall, I don't think that he does. But I think that since he is such a defensive liability right now, even what he provides like doesn't feel like it's making up for it since we are embarrassingly losing leads like this.
I think the problem with Miller is that he's very clearly, sorry, my Siri just went off. Go away, Siri. He's very clearly like, I don't like the room or whatever, but he's very clearly like a big personality and presence in the room. And so he takes up a lot of space. And so it seems like when he's going, the Canucks are kind of going. And that's just concerning to have that be kind of where we're at with this team. Like, we should be able to sustain if Miller's having, an off week. We should be able to play around that a little, and we're not right now. Who knows? Things might shift against Washington, but I don't like that. So about the vibes, I don't know. He seems pretty vocal, so
he's definitely
at least he's aware. At least he's self-aware.
I thought it was really interesting that after the Hoglander penalty, it wasn't Horvat talking to the refs or the coach. It was JT Miller. And like not
yeah, and even with all the COVID stuff, it was Miller who talked to the media. Like that's not to like reduce Bo Horvat or whatever, but he is kind of that, he takes on that role. So I don't know. I don't know about the vibes thing. Like I don't know. He's a complicated player.
I feel like we could say this is a complicated team as it comes to Miller. Like in this discussion, we all say like it doesn't reduce Bo's role. I think there are a lot of people who can make an argument that Elias Pettersson should be the best player / leader of the team, but somehow it always comes back to JT Miller.
Yeah, because I think that has to do with the kind of usual. JT Miller's the more traditional hockey player.
He commands attention.
Stuff. He's angry. He doesn't
American.
Shop at Holt Renfrew, etc. More like that stuff, but
I will say that you can actually, I think that Bo Horvat, JT Miller, and Elias Pettersson all are very good indicators of their own country of hockey. I would say that Bo seems like your nice Canadian. JT Miller is your annoying American. And then like Pettersson is your like stylish Swedish guy.
They slot into
they
slot very well into their own stereotypes.
That's true. What point do you think, I mean, I think we always have this debate in the Vancouver market about whether or not it's fans driving these kinds of storylines and like whether we're vilifying Bo because of JT, et cetera, et cetera. But at what point do the coaches at the front office and the organization kind of have to decide which of these voices is actually supposed to be the leader of the team? Or do you just, because the way it's going, they always talk about how PD leads by example, very Sedin-like, et cetera, but I don't think they ever had a JT Miller type. Like, sure there was Ryan Kessler, but Kessler was very much deferential to the Sedins as a leader. He never took over in the way that Miller does. Like, at some point, is there an issue of too many different styles of leadership where it's conflicting?
Do you remember last year when the team Twitter account like posted the photo of Bo and JT at the end of the season being like, I can't remember what it was, but it was clearly responding to the media stuff about there being tension or whatever. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's very Streisand effect. So they're clearly aware of it. But I guess they'll have to decide with Bo's contract. Because I also don't know how much they actually care about like who's paid the most or how that how that slots into the kind of perception within the room. It is interesting that they named Bo captain so early. Like, do they just stick with that because they did it early, or does it really matter? Like,
think it matters, and I also don't think they strip Bo of the captaincy. I think if anything, they would trade Bo.
They're not going to Blake Wheeler him.
But they're not just gonna strip him of the captaincy. If they want to not have him have the C, they'll get rid of him. I don't think that they would keep him around.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely no way. There's also like they'll do the thing where it's just leadership by committee, but Bo just has the C.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is what they definitely are leading to now, I guess.
Okay. Before we head into our third segment, we're just gonna take a 2-second breather. Everybody take 2 deep breaths.
Okay, literally my back needs to take 2 deep breaths.
Everyone take a look at Gritty. Mal's got a Gritty in the background.
Yeah, but he's all the way back here because he's out of reach. I'll go get him.
Mal, we can't even see you when you moved.
Can you see him?
I don't know. I'm like slowly watching the YouTube. Yeah, we can see him.
Can you see him?
Yes, we can see Gritty.
Did you just
fall out of your chair?
No, I was on the ground.
Looked like you fell out of your chair.
No, I tripped on my slipper.
Pain.
Okay.
Pain.
Oh, yeah.
Gritty was having a good time.
Gritty was
like
loving
so
it.
many people we know were at this game.
I know. I told
Cody
Clarissa to get a photo with Gritty.
They were all there.
And she said she was really trying, but he's obviously very popular.
What are the chances that Gritty and Torts get into a fight this season?
Oh my god. Torts does not like Gritty, but like Gritty has leaned into this and like he's doing like he posted something the other day where he was just like putting Torts' picture up on his wall and like Torts is not going to play this game with like this man in a mascot costume. Like it's so funny. Because previously before he was employed, he was complaining about Gritty. He was like, I think Gritty is not cool. And then he was like, now I work for the Flyers and I have to pretend I like him.
If the Flyers socials have any appreciation for us, they will push this hatred as far as it can go.
Just stir the
because
pot.
we need it.
Literally,
can we take a second to acknowledge the graphic that they put up on the Sportsnet feed of Tortorella's quotes about his team, which included a quote about just in general about hockey players or like modern athletes, but they have the attention span of an amoeba. Like
that was really
what
good.
A guy.
I actually thought my favorite. I don't know if you guys saw this. John Clark on NBC tweeted 2 days ago. I asked John Tortorella if he has found something the Flyers are good at and can build on that in identity, and his only answer was no. That's all he said. No. Is your team good at anything? No.
That's who the Canucks lost to today.
I think that we need we need like Torts versus like the Flames like era fight in the hallway, but with Gritty and Torts.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, and on that,
or the old school Mac T versus the Flames Husky?
Harvey?
Yeah.
Harvey.
His name's Harvey.
When he pulled the tongue out.
Harvey's tongue out.
But it's just Torts with Gritty pulling his eyeballs.
Okay.
I think Gritty could take Torts in a fight.
Oh,
do you want to talk about actual hockey now?
No, I was gonna say along the line of like somebody said Torts is really leading into angry old grandpa coach. At what point, and is it possible for this version of the Vancouver Canucks to break Bruce Boudreau and turn him into Torts? Or does he get fired first?
He gets fired first.
Yeah.
He's too nice.
No, I think that like being the coach of the Canucks has to break you. Like body and soul and spirit. Like I can't imagine you make it out of that unscathed. I don't know.
Travis Green
I think
did look pretty sad at the end.
I was gonna say, like, it is kind of funny that the story was always, oh, Travis Green can't handle his bench. Always the too many men penalties, but They have not stopped. I don't
Turns
know.
out they just
don't think it's
can't
a Travis
count.
Green issue.
It's unbelievable. I actually checked because I wanted to know if they had the most last season because it really felt like they did. But turns out the Leafs did. They had 13, which is not great. But, or at least they had 13 at a certain time in the season. But I don't know if they got any more, but not good.
Not good. What do you think the Canucks are going to finish this road trip with in terms of points?
They have 3 more games?
Yeah. 10 points total that they could have.
Oh, I thought you were gonna.
No. They're the 10 points boat has sailed. But it's gone.
Okay.
The most they can have now is 6.
Ooh. That makes my 4 sound too many. But I'm still sticking with 4. I think they'll eke out a win in a tie.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know about the Capitals. I feel a bit confident against the Blue Jackets. Don't feel confident against Minnesota.
Exactly. I think they can beat Columbus, and I think they'll tie in Washington and they'll lose to the Wild.
I think that's fair.
That's safe.
In terms of what do you think is going to happen against the Capitals? Let's get this one on the record.
They can't take penalties. Don't take penalties. I hope, you know what I hope happens? I hope Kuzmenko's gotta play well because it's Capitals.
Revenge of Kuzmenko.
Yeah, revenge of Kuzmenko. And, the Capitals are old. So that could be okay. Also, I think there's just something in general about Canucks playing these early games. Sometimes they just don't. I mean, early for us is 1:00. They just don't look. They were that into it. Also, we're helped by the fact that the Washington Nationals suck, so they're not going to be playing that game live on the Jumbotron. They're definitely not going to be
playing the Nationals though.
To amp up, the Flyers were amped up by the Phillies winning, which is clearly what happened. So yeah, I feel a little bit better. I feel a bit better, but it's also I don't know. I don't trust the Canucks yet. How do you feel, Sam? What is your confidence level against Washington?
It's hard to say because the Canucks do have a penchant for showing up against what people generally consider to be a good team, which I think Washington still kind of barely makes the cut there. So it's a question of whether early game not showing up versus showing up for a good team. The weird thing is I would be more worried that they would come out flat against Columbus and they'll show up against the Caps in Minnesota. Because
they really do play to their opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always expect them to get annihilated by good teams and they always make it a game. Well, not always, but more often than not they make it a game and then they play the Coyotes and blow it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the game on Wednesday was 5-3, so it's not as if that was really a good game for us. But the first 20 minutes, they were playing very well, and it was a very similar situation of them playing to the Oilers, playing equal to them. So I wasn't surprised by them playing poorly against the Flyers because they have a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
As Sam said with the Yotes situation.
I agree.
Okay. I'm going to do one last question straight from the chat because I think it's funny. And it's not it's hockey adjacent. Somebody said, let's talk about what mascots could beat up their coaches. I say Carlton the Bear could beat up Sheldon Keefe.
Oh, absolutely.
Who's the one that has the abs? Edmonton?
Hunter, who is the weird like wolf bobcat thing for the Oilers.
1000% could beat up
Jay Woodcroft.
Pretty boy Jay Woodcroft.
Stormy versus Rod the Bod. What do you think?
Oh, Rod the Bod.
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely, Rod Brindamore.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Bowie the Troll versus Dave Haxtell.
Bowie.
Yeah, I also pick Bowie.
Bowie would go off. Also, yeah.
I honestly don't know who the Blackhawks' current coach is, but I did see Tommy the Blackhawk like put somebody in a chokehold and like wrestle them to the ground before, so I'm confident he could win in a fight.
I feel like that's good. I also, as you said, that was like, yeah, I was gonna say Jeremy Colleton, but he's actually the Canucks AHL coach now.
Could he take whatever the mascot of the Abbotsford Canucks is?
No. I don't know what the mascot is, but no.
Do they have a mascot? Is it just Johnny Canuck? Don't actually tell us that. I don't need that taking up brain space. I absolutely do not. I don't need that. The fact that I even know like a bunch of the NHL mascots is concerning, and I blame Mallory and Vanessa.
Okay, well, also here's the thing. Here is something to think about: is that, what is his name? Blades, the bear, for the Bruins. He's super, super spry, but that's just because the costume's really small. So, like, it's a lot like smaller of a mascot than you're used to. So, I don't know. They have a lot more mobility.
Minus Gertie because of that like lawsuit that got thrown out about when he punched the kid. Which NHL mascot do you think has had the most lawsuits? Akin to the Philly Fanatic.
That would require me to know all 32 mascots.
Mal absolutely does. That is not a question for you, Sam. You definitely have not thought about this, whereas Mallory probably
honestly has. Okay. I feel like Bernie, he's the dog mascot of the Avalanche. I feel like maybe some people got too worked up to like Blink-182 and he had to take some people down.
That's good.
Okay, my last mascot question. Daryl Sutter or Harvey?
Daryl Sutter.
Just since we've seen that Harvey has like these weak spots, like his tongue, I think Daryl Sutter.
I think Daryl
also
Sutter.
Like he's a farmer. I feel like he has probably wrestled steers.
Farm boy strength.
Okay. I know it's running late. We've run very late because of our technical issues. If you're still watching, thank you guys so much for bearing with us and watching me struggle in real time. You can feel free to let me know on Twitter if you thought my performance in the stream was worse or if the Canucks were worse. I can take it. But thank you to Georgia and Mallory for joining me today. You can find them at Georgia Twists and at Sports Lesbian. And you can also listen to us if you enjoy the chaos at Broadscast Pod. And we will see you on Monday. I am hosting again, but I have now figured out how to do this. So hopefully we will actually start the stream on time Monday after the Caps game. And I hope to God I will be talking about a Canucks win. Have a great weekend, guys.
Bye.
Bye.